Good evening. My name is John Michael Foulger. I'm represented by Mary Liz Management. I have been in this glorious industry of ours since pretty much Shakespeare started writing, or at least that's how it feels. I've done stage, TV, film, endless commercials. I have yet to do radio. Rory.
Hello, I'm Rory Wilton. I'm with Teresa at Filmcast Cornwall and Southwest. I am a television, film, stage, voiceover and radio actor. I've been an actor for getting on over 30 years now. And yes, I've also directed and written lots of it in the past. Anyway.
Hello, I'm Emma Spurgin Hussey. I'm also extremely aged and have been doing this sort of thing for a while. And yeah, like everybody, I sort of patchwork together a bit of a career to try and keep body and soul together. And yeah, I do lots of different things. At the moment, a lot of it is narrating audio books and pretending to have various illnesses to help train up medical students. So those are some of the things that I have. I'm a professional malingerer. And I write a bit as well and have directed a bit and various odds and sods too. Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin K. Moffat, and I'm a writer and an actor and an actor. And I work mostly on screenplays, but some plays as well. And I'm excited to listen to your script.
And I'm Angela Elliott. I'm the scriptwriter and novelist. I've been writing since the late 80s, early 90s. Started out doing documentary, then drama, TV and film and novels. And yeah, I really like helping people, especially those who are just starting out on their journey. So we're going to be reading Disgrace by Louis Findlay. It's a short piece. And so I'll hand over to Emma to do the narration.
Thank you. This is Disgrace by Louis, or I think you pronounce it Lewis in your case. I think I remember because we read your other script. Disgrace, written by Louis Findlay. Exterior, town, middle of the night. Several shots of the town. It's a cold and wet night. The roads are empty. Not a single light on in people's windows. Only foxes occupy the streets. Exterior, petrol station, middle of the night. Shot through the windshield. We see Graham, 30s, walking back towards his car holding a bottle of water. He enters the car and opens the bottle of water. His hand shakes. He puts it to his mouth and takes a huge mouthful and gasps for air. Cut to black. Title, Disgrace. Interior, car, middle of the night. Graham drives through the night. He appears incredibly tired and yawns. A call comes in, a name on the monitor, Tom. The time on the monitor is 1:30 a.m. Graham is hesitant to answer and ignores it. Tom calls again and Graham answers.
Graham, are you there?
Graham is silent.
Graham.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you okay? Are you hurt?
I'm fine, yeah.
I noticed the car's gone.
Yeah.
It's 1:30 in the morning, Graham. Where the fuck are you going?
I'm going to work.
Jesus. Graham. No. Look.
I've got to make things right.
At this hour?
Honestly, it doesn't matter what time it is because I cannot sleep.
Who the fuck is going to be there at this hour anyway? You're not supposed to be there whilst the investigation is ongoing. Remember?
I know, but I have to tell the truth.
Look, just come home and we can talk about this. You're not thinking straight. You're just going to make things worse.
Don't do that, all right? I know perfectly well what I'm doing, Tom, okay? There's nothing more to say.
Okay. None of this is your fault, by the way.
Yes, it is. It is my fault.
Graham!
She was 10 years old, Tom.
I know.
I couldn't save her, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Her parents have to live with that for the rest of their lives, too. I deserve to be punished and have my day in court.
just come home, would you, please?
We see signs for the hospital car park.
I can't. I'm just pulling in now.
Graham, listen to me, okay? Listen. I love you.
Graham parks.
I love you so much. But this is not your fault. He's a top consultant. And consultant. He's a top consultant and consultant, for fuck's sake. There's no right putting you in that situation. For years, he's got away with bullying and belittling others. Everybody's scared of him because he thinks he's so powerful. He can't be touched. Do the right thing. Tell them that he was drunk. He shouldn't have even been on site, let alone in theatres.
I'm scared.
You can do this, all right? Her parents deserve to know the truth. You have to. For Lily.
For Lily.
I love you.
I love you too.
The call ends. Graham composes himself and takes a deep breath before climbing out of the car and slamming the door behind him. Cut to black. End.
Thank you. Erin, you were listening to that. What came to mind?
Well, it looks like a short film. I'm curious, when in the opening part where it says, not a single light on in people's windows, only foxes occupy the streets, like literal foxes, like the animal, and like how many? And is this dystopian? Is it present day? What's the significance of the foxes?
Trust me, we have foxes in the UK.
There are a lot of
lots
urban
and lots
foxes.
and lots of
You
them.
just
A
have,
lot
like,
of
a lot of
urban
foxes?
foxes.
They
Yeah.
like
Okay,
to eat
okay.
from bins.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
There are more living in the
Okay.
city than there are in the country now.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Okay.
get them still in the country, but they do come up
Yeah.
to the house.
Okay.
I get them in the front of my garden every night. And they come over the
Okay.
fence and yeah.
Okay, well, learned something new today. The time, I think it's really interesting, and I'm interested as to, is it part of a feature that, is this like a short it's just a short, or is it the hope that it's like a short for something to do a feature eventually? It's very interesting. I'm not exactly sure of the relationship between Tom and Graham, like if they're like, which is real, they love each other. That's not, I'd like to know more about that. I thought it's very interesting, and I don't know if the point is that we don't know like what really happened to Lily and all that kind of stuff because it's ended. So but I think this would be like good as maybe like a teaser to a pilot. I feel like I need to know more to like give a better critique, but I thought it was well written. The characters had a contrast. They seemed like two different people. It read well. The vulnerability of both of the characters is nice to see in male characters. I really liked that a lot.
Okay. Thank you. John.
Very, very intrigued in both the small snapshot that we've got. Very intrigued in what's going on there. I mean, obviously, Lily's the young girl who died. Tom and Graham are obviously in a relationship. Those things obviously are, in both senses, quite powerful things. But I'm also curious as to, is this just a snapshot? Is it a POC? Sorry, proof of concept. As I say, very intrigued. I did enjoy it, though. I really did enjoy it, very much so. And I definitely want to know what's going on. The only thing that confused me was the line, he's a top consultant and a consultant. That, to me, didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, typo.
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I would like to know, though, where and when. And as we've already read one of yours, Lewis, you should know this already. But other than that, thank you very much, Lewis.
Perfect. Okay, Emma.
Thank you, Lewis, for that. I think I'm remembering right to call you Lewis rather than Louis. And yes, we remember the one that you sent before because there was a man who killed his double or his other self. And again, it was very short. And again, it featured cars, strangely enough. And I was beginning to wonder whether this is part of a sort of greater work of yours in which we kind of dive in and out of other people's lives and maybe see them together. And we just see these little snapshots because it does seem to be somehow in a, to me, similar world. And so I wonder, you know, whether it's something that you're kind of patchworking together in an interesting way. Right.
Well, if it wasn't, he is now.
Yeah, maybe. I'm guessing that it's all happening consecutively, that the very beginning stuff is setting up, and after the titles we get the interior in the car, and that happens after the setup. I'm guessing that that's all happening chronologically. I would say, even though it's short, it would be a bit shorter just in terms of some of the dialogue. I think I would be tempted to bash it up a bit, and you just help yourself, and your actors and directors, anybody else who's working with it, with punctuation. Could you take me to the end of page 2, please?
Yeah.
The end of page 2, we have don't do that. All right, I am. What does I am refer to? I'm not quite sure what it's answering back to.
Thinking straight.
Yeah, I just...
You're not thinking straight yet.
Yeah, and there's something where there's a question, I think, later on. Okay, so you made sense of that, you felt. So, yeah, that was good. And then maybe break up the speeches so you don't have people in a state talking in full sentences. If you could take me to the middle of 3 and Graham's bigger speech. Yeah, I couldn't save her, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Her parents have to live with that for the rest of their lives too. I just don't know whether you would say all that if you were in the middle of the night and wound up like that.
Yeah,
and
cut yourself off.
Yeah, whether it just, you cut into yourself and you would, you know, sort of stop, you'd change direction. You know, her parents do, and her parents, I deserve to be punished. Just the thing about having your day in court seems a bit strange, because it's annoying. People say, I'm going to have my day in court, and it's normally a sort of thing they're going to do.
Yeah, I've been wrongly accused.
Yeah, about getting, you know, they're being vindicated, getting justified. And I don't know whether it's being used in quite the right sense. Just come home, would you, is a statement when it should be a question, I think. So there's just things where, you know, I would break it up a bit and just check that the you know, that the breathing for actors has got a place for it, and also just, you know, help everybody understand exactly what you mean. You know, like quite often we have a dash at the end of something as a cut in, and an ellipsis, you know, the 3 dots to say that somebody's tailed off. And it's just really helpful to have that stuff. I mean, I know you probably know a lot of this, but just check it, I would. What else? And the long speech about the consultant is also, I mean, it is long, that one, just in a short film. I think that's a long speech for a very short piece. And I just wonder, is Tom telling Graham what Graham already knows? And is he saying, you know, you must turn this man in because he's done wrong? And surely this is what Graham's going to do anyway, I think. I just don't quite know. Has Tom got to really persuade him? You know, whether that could have been cut up, that speech of his, so that there were interjections or silences from Graham, or, you know, we see Graham's eyes as he's listening or something like that. But I just wonder whether it's quite a long speech that somebody who's in quite a high octane state, Graham, isn't interrupting. And I think that feels, to me, not quite natural. Yeah, has anything he said changed anything for Graham at all? Yeah, why was Graham going to hospital in the first place? Just what was that thing? I love you so much, but this is not your fault, I think he says at one point. That's it, Tom, at the beginning. I love you so much. and this is not your fault. Otherwise, it's like, I love you, but normally I only love people whose fault it is. Yeah, so I think just go through and make
Yeah.
the sense of
But it's
everything.
not your fault.
Yeah, I know, it's not your fault. Yes.
I mean, you killed her, but I still love you.
Yes. So I think I would just go absolutely, clearly through it and just make sure that it's, because I think there are lots of things. Oh, the thing about the time also, if you just run back a tiny bit, please, to the time, because we have a little bit of overkill with, we see the call, it says 1:30, and he says, something about it's 1:30 in the morning, and then he says later on, Tom, something about at this hour. So I think we know it's late. We don't need so many little prods to make us know what the time is.
Yeah.
Trust that you are putting your point across, and trust that we are bright, your audience and your actors and everybody, because people can pick stuff up. Anyway, I've probably talked for too long, but yeah, thank you. Be interested to know what else comes next.
Yes, what everyone else said. It was it's very good. It's very good. It needs a bit of work, but it jumps off a page. And yes, you dragged us straight in and want to know what happens next. And is it part of a number of vignettes which are all connected in some way? If they are, that's very clever. Yeah, well done. Good stuff. What's next?
I just put I think we just need a little bit of clarity that Graham is obviously a doctor. And could have saved the girl, but he didn't. It's just not quite clear that, maybe you're just rolling that out slowly. So I don't know. I think it's just a little confusing when he says at the beginning, I have to tell the truth. And then you think, wait a minute, by the end, we know he's not telling the truth because there's another doctor involved. And so actually what he's doing, he's not telling the truth. He's taking the fall for someone else. And he's maybe feeling guilty and blaming himself for what happened, when in actual fact it's not his fault. It was this other guy's fault. So I just think there needs to be a little bit of clarity there about that. So that's, otherwise it just gets a bit confusing. I think also I agree with you, Emma. I think some of the things that are said are, the dialogue in general is very good, but there are some big sections that could be cut down. And I think this is very emotive. This is obviously a very emotive thing. And these are two guys who are more than likely, I'd say, in a relationship together, given the extent of their professing love for each other, etc. And that means they are involved emotionally in each other's well-being. And I think you can do you can make your dialogue respond to that much more. And I mean, in places it works perfectly. None of this is your fault. I would cut out the by the way. I'm looking at the top of page 3. None of this is your fault. Why do we need the by the way? It's no point. Yes, it is. It is my fault. Graham, she was 10 years old. We don't need his name. By the way, you don't need to give people's names except maybe once so that the audience can identify who they are. But if you were talking to someone, you lived with, you wouldn't say their name. You might, if you did, you might not say it like that. You might go, Tom, so it's not a sort of just an extension of she was 10 years old, Tom. And then I think when you get to that, I could have saved her, I have to live with that for the rest of my life. When you get to those points where it's like a really emotional, heavyweight thing, you have to act it while you're writing it. You have to put yourself in the head of that person. You have to go, I couldn't save her. And you really feel the emotion. What would that person be going through? And that will help you so that you don't write big sentences that people wouldn't say in those moments. I couldn't save her. I have to live with that. And it's all cut short. You don't think in terms of conjunctions and grammar when you're in that state, do you? Dialogue's the least grammatical bit of writing you'll ever do. Yes, celebrate the anti-grammar. So yeah, I agree. The day in court, that doesn't mean anything really. Other than that, I think it flows. I think it flows okay. Again, Tom, at the end of that page, I love you so much that this is not your fault. There's a typo in there. I also think, I'm not sure that for years he's got away with bullying and belittling others. Everybody is scared of him because he thinks he's so powerful. Would you really say it like that? I think I love you so much, but this isn't your fault. You know, he's a top consultant, for fuck's sake. And he had no right, you know, he had no right in putting you in that situation. I think at that point you've got Graham going,
Yeah, you know how he treats people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
He
then
walks over them.
you don't need to explain quite so much, I think, maybe. I think there's a bit of explaining there. But yeah, I think other than that, it works really well, and yeah, it makes you want to, like you said, it makes you think that there's something more to come. And I'd really like to know whether he gets out of this or not, you know.
Oh, Erin.
I just wanted to add two things. It does say in the beginning that Tom calls, but it doesn't give a description of who Tom is either. And I think that, like, something that, to make it more the clarity of being a doctor, if he wants a day in court, or there's circumstances and Tom wants Graham to come home, what is like at stake because of this accident, and like what's happening at work now because of it, and like why does he want him to come home, and why doesn't he want him to go to work? Because if there was an accident at a hospital, would he still be working? Would he be demoted? Things like that.
He'd be suspended.
Yeah, so would he be going into work?
Yeah.
Or like, why is he going into work then? Or
is he going
you know,
to reanimate her?
Yeah, like what's going on with that? Like, is he going there? He's not supposed to be there. Like, you know. Anyways.
Cool. Anyway, thank you. Look forward to hearing what happens with it.
Mm-hmm.